Good Tuesday morning, everybody, and welcome once again to Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports here on the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network. And we've got a lot of ground to cover today. Week 1 in the NFL, it's a wrap. And we're going to talk about some players that you may want to be looking for on the waiver wire this week. We're going to look at a little baseball. In fact, we're going to start first with baseball. And I want to first take a look at the standings. Let's see where we are with about, 10 or so games left to play in the season. So I want to first take a look at the American League, where last night the White Sox pick up a big win, 3-1 over the Twins. I told you in the offseason, look out for those White Sox. Their pitching is better than Minnesota's, and so far, spot on. Right now, the White Sox have the best record in the American League at 31-16. This is a team, everyone, that people were saying was 1 year away when this season began. Well, that was incorrect. And another team we're going to talk about in the National League in just a moment, hotter than a firecracker. But the Twins are 31-16. The Rays are 30-17, so they're one game apart for best record. And the A's 30-18. And so they're only a game and a half behind for the best record in the American League. The 4th seed right now, the Twins, 30-19. Now they trail the White Sox by 2 full games. The Blue Jays at 26-20 are in the 5th hole. The Astros at 23-24 are in 6th. That's the second place team in the West. Now they're 23-24 with a losing record, but it's the first and second place teams in each division that automatically make it. The 2 wild cards today, the Yankees at 26-21 and the Indians at 26-21. Well, the Indians are 3 games behind the Twins for second place in that division. So that may be with like 11 games to go or 13 games to go, a little bit to overcome. But the Yankees only trail the Blue Jays by a half game. They've got a lot of games left with the Blue Jays. And so those games between Toronto and New York going down the stretch are going to be humongous. That's right. There's a word for today. Humongous. So let's look at the National League. Last night, the Padres, 5-run spot in the 7th. They beat the Dodgers. It's the 3-game set I told you about at Petco. It was Lamet and Kershaw. And game 1 goes to San Diego. And we wake up this morning with the Dodgers, still the best record in all of baseball, but only a 2-game lead over the Padres. 1 in the win column, a game and a half lead, a 2-game lead in the loss column, a game lead in the win column. The Dodgers are 33-15. The Padres, Tabitha Smith, confused with humongous, huh? It's just one of those words that comes out every now and then. But it's good to see Tabitha in the room this morning. We're going to try to talk a little bit baseball and football, so hang with me. So the Padres, young team. I saw a stat I got to share with you. Fernando Tatis Jr., if you don't know about him, you've been under a rock, you're going to know about him now. One of the most exciting young players in all of baseball. Probably most valuable player in the National League this year. Plays shortstop, 15 homers, 300 average. But over the last 10 games or so, he was hitting 220. And over those games, the Padres continue to win. The Tommy Pham, the trade in the offseason, who broke his hamate bone, he's coming back soon. He's at the practice field taking swings. It wouldn't surprise me for Tommy Pham to be back next week, the last week of the regular season, which can only bolster the Padres team. Are the Padres as good on paper as the Dodgers? No, but they're close. Are they as good on the field as the Dodgers? Well, anytime you play, anybody can win, right? So, the Padres, big winners last night. The Dodgers still in first place in the National League. The Cubs hold the second spot, 28-20. They didn't play yesterday. The Braves at 28-20. And did you see what the Orioles did to the Braves last night? Like 14-1. Yeah. Baltimore shellacked. There's another word. Shellacked the Braves last night. 14-1. Wow. The Braves still in third slot in the National League. Padres 4, The thing I want to talk about next, real quick, let's just pause and slow it down. Let's slow the pace down a little bit. It was a month ago that the Miami Marlins, the fledgling, there you go, Miami Marlins, they weren't playing baseball because their team had been bombarded with the COVID virus. A lot of games were suspended. And now 45 games into their season, after numerous doubleheaders trying to catch up with the rest of the league, the Marlins are 24-21. Now, when you look back at the 2020 season and you talk about who's the most surprising team, it's got to be the Miami Marlins. Don Mattingly, Manager of the Year, go ahead, write it down. Former Yankee great, Don Mattingly. He is going to be the Manager of the Year. The Marlins have a game-and-a-half lead over the Phillies for that second slot. The Cardinals are in 6th at 21-21, and the Phillies and the Giants come in with the last 2 wild cards. Now, I say the Marlins, look, the Reds are in 9th place, and the Marlins lead the Reds by 3 games. So even if they don't finish in 2nd, the Marlins have a 3-game lead over the Reds. The Reds have 11 games to play. So if the Reds were to go 8-3, the Marlins would have to have a corresponding record. Now they play 15 more games, so there's some more double headers in line for Miami. But the Reds to go 8-3 would be monumental. First of all, Sonny Gray, one of their best pitchers, as you know, is on the IL. That's not good. The Reds seem to have all the talent in the world, but this year they've just not been able to put it together on the field. I don't feel good about the Reds making the playoffs. I do feel good about the Marlins. Those are our teams as we look at the standings this morning. I want to talk a little DFS with you, daily fantasy. If you're picking up players, you're playing daily fantasy baseball, here are some guys that you want to look at today. Jack Flaherty for the St. Louis Cardinals, pitching at Milwaukee. He's going to cost you around $9,400. In Flaherty's last start, the Cardinals appeared to take the gloves off of him. The kid gloves were off. He threw 5 innings, 95 pitches. He should be good to go. The Brewers are struggling. Flaherty's not had a full, if you would, ace-like season as we were expecting. He's striking out about 25% of the batters he faces with a 45.7 ground ball rate and only a 4.3% barrel rate. Let's explain that for a moment to you listeners who may not be familiar with barrel rate. The barrel of the bat, the sweet spot of the bat hitting the ball. Okay? Only 4.3% of the time are batters putting that sweet spot of the bat on baseballs thrown and pitched by Jack Flaherty. Translated, that's really good. Okay, he faces a Brewers team today that strikes out 27% of the time versus right-handers with the sub 150 ISO and a sub 300 on-base average. Translated, the Brewers offense stinks, and this could be a coming-out party for Cardinals ace Jack Flaherty. Another pitcher not quite as pricey, Yankee great Deivi Garcia. That's right, $6,800 today. He'll be making his 4th start of the season. He's been electric in 2 of his 3 starts. In those starts, he's thrown at least 6 innings. He struck out at least 6 batters. And Deivi has struck out 25.7% of the batters he has faced in those 3 starts and walked only 2 batters. Percentage-wise, he's walking only 2.9% of the batters that he's faced. He has limited opposing hitters to a 6.1% barrel rate and has a nice 28% hard hit rate. Garcia has been more than advertised for the Yankees and a shot in the arm for exactly what they need. And now he's facing a Jays team that they really need to beat. If they win today, they move back into second place. He'll also be making his first start at Yankee Stadium. And so I think he's a good value arm tonight. Now some other arms, one more pricey, one not so much. Keep your eye on Yu Darvish, pitching tonight for the Cubs against Cleveland. But Darvish costs $11,000 today. And Danny Duffy, pitching for Kansas City at Detroit, sneaky pick, $7,700. How about a catcher? Sean Murphy for Oakland, $3,900. They're at Colorado and Antonio Sensatella. Now Murphy's been hitting the ball hard all season. Results really haven't shown up yet. Excuse me. But that's changed over the last 8 games. Over the last 8 games, Sean Murphy has hit safely in 6 of those, a .391 average with 4 home runs. He's hitting it with such authority. He's racked up a .522 ISO, a .569 on base average, 23.5 barrel rate. Now remember I was talking earlier about Flaherty's barrel rate, 4%, Debbie Garcia's 6%. Well here, Murphy's at 23.5% barrel rate and a 47.1 hard hit rate. More impressively about Murphy of late, he has walked 20.7% of the time over those last 8 games. And he's playing in hitter's paradise tonight, Coors Field. It doesn't get any hitter happy than that one. Now he's my pick of the day at catcher. In fact, he may be my pick of the day, period, for the price $3,900. Other catchers to look at, Yasmani Grandal. The White Sox are in Minnesota. He's $5,100. And Salvador Perez, Kansas City, at Detroit, $4,300. All right, so let's talk about first base. How about Jared Walsh? Is that Joe Walsh's son? Life's been good to me so far. I don't know, but life's been good to Jared Walsh, I can tell you that. And his price tag has risen quite a bit. He's now $4,000. Walsh has hit safely in 6 straight games and 8 of his last 9. And over his last 6 games, he has 5 multi-hit games, and that's good for a .440 average. He's shown some really strong power over those 6 games. He's hit 4 home runs, 4 home runs, a .560 average over those games. His quality of contact's been impressive. He's barreling the ball 18% of the time, a 50% hard hit rate. He's crushing everything. Last year in the minors, he hit 36 homers. And tonight he faces Madison Bumgarder, who has not been the Mad Bum of old. At home this year, Madison Bumgarner of Hickory, North Carolina. There you go. He's a North Carolina boy. Madison Bumgarner at home has allowed left-handed hitters to hit .333 with a .367 on base average, and has given up an average of 2.7 home runs over 9 innings. Walsh should be on today with massive upside. Other options, the great Freddie Freeman at Baltimore, $5,700. And here's another one, cheap priced. I know he didn't get a hit last night, but Christian Walker. Same game as Jared Walsh, Arizona at LA Angels, and he's only $3,200. Second base, Dylan Moore, Seattle, facing off against Tyler Anderson. Quite the season in 2020 for Mr. Moore. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody. If you said you drafted Dylan Moore, I'm going to say you were on some substance that was impairing you quite a bit. Now, he went over in the doubleheader yesterday, so a lot of people are not going to be high on him today. He's at $3,800. I'm high on him. Before the doubleheader,